Welcome as you come into the stream. How's everybody doing tonight? Just making sure we're on Dlive and Periscope. Shout out to the Periscope viewers. Shout out to the Dlive viewers. I'm really tired today, to be honest with you guys, but we're gonna put in a good hour. As most of you probably have seen by now, the channel has a lot of missing content. And we have a new look for the... I got a new green screen look, actually. But we got a new look for the thumbnail for my nightly streams. So I follow this guy, and his YouTube channel is Memory Hole. And he got demonetized today. All right? So, we've talked about this, right? A lot of channels disappeared last week. And a lot of the people I'm following, they're getting demonetized or deplatformed completely. So it's almost as if, you know, they're closing in. In order for me to survive on this platform, because I really enjoy hanging out with you guys on my live streams, we've got to switch it up a little bit. And so what we're going to do is we're going to focus less on divisive politics, identity politics, and those kind of issues. And we're going to focus on more practical things that affect us, right? That affect all of us, that are a little bit more inclusive, dare I say, and a little bit safer for the tube. I think a lot of us are definitely interested in, you know, figuring out this globalized economy and talking about, you know, real things that are going to affect everyday people, like jobs, industries, and global markets. So, you know, it's going to be a lot of the same stuff, but we're going to focus on the economy. We're going to focus on job markets. We're going to focus on the stimulus package and the stimulus checks. And we're going to approach this a little bit differently from here on out. I pretty much got rid of all of the content so that it doesn't eventually get, you know, hit. And I'm going to try to make this as interesting as I possibly can. It'll probably take me a couple of days to really get back in the swing of things here with the newer format, but I've got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today. What's actually honestly kind of scary is today China led the global stock rally. So the Dow was definitely up today. What's the number on that? I think it was like 459 points. Well, no, the Nasdaq surged 459 points. European markets were up, but all of this was led by China. China's markets were up. And why were China's markets up? Because the government over there told their citizens to start purchasing stocks. I have it right here. This is the headline from, this is the headline right here. China told its citizens to buy stocks, boosting the market. So the United States, you know, has the Fed, and China has its state media. These are very, very powerful entities, as most of you know. And as China's reopening their economy, a lot of things are going to change. I mean, we've talked about the restructuring of the global economy. There's really no way around it. There's, you know, as much as we may not approve of certain changes, they are here. I mean, this isn't even something like where it's coming. No, it's here now. The global economy is being completely revolutionized. It already has been. Things are going out of business. New industries are cropping up, but a lot of industries are sort of going the way of the dinosaur. You know, we're entering, I think what's so interesting about this time that we live in is, you we're kind of exiting the industrial age, right? We're in the last few moments of the industrial age, right? The industrial age is taking its final couple of breaths. And so the old model was build something, right? Build a product, build a car, sell it to people in the West, and but make it so that after 50,000 miles, they'd have to come in and buy another car, right? And so this is sort of the economies that a lot of us grew up in. But now the economy it's a global economy, obviously, and the products are digital. They're going to be selling us. We're watching the entire economy digitize, and they're going to sell digital products for next to nothing, but they're going to sell them to everybody. And so I think it's more productive and it's more valuable for all of us. Instead of sort of complaining and thinking about, how can we preserve this? How can we preserve that? What's going to happen to Western society? Instead of getting caught up in the hype and getting caught up in the identity politics in the U.S. and just in the West in general, because that it does get toxic, but it's also just unfortunately it's not going to be permitted online. Not just YouTube, online in general. It's not going to be permitted for too much longer. I think what all of us should be more interested in is how do we fit into the globalized economy, right? How do we survive this restructuring of the global economy, but how do we fit in and then thrive, right? That's what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about it a lot. But this is kind of scary, right? That China is sort of leading the stock rally. I'm not exactly sure if this is a new thing, but it goes to show you. I mean, here's a headline from Zacks.com: China stock lead, global week ahead. The S&P 500 and the Dow Jones traded up 1.3% this morning, despite elevated numbers of the pandemic. And this is the other weird thing about this too, is that supposedly, right, this thing is still going on. The illness is still consuming lives, and it's as if the stock market has already priced this in. Now, I am in the stock market myself. I have a very small dividend portfolio on Robinhood. If you're interested in downloading Robinhood, use my link in the description down below. And I'm working on a few different shorter term swing trades. And I've been dabbling in the stock market for about 3 months now. Since the crash, right? The crash, I think, is what got a lot of people, including myself, interested in the stock markets. So despite everything that's going on with the illness, it's almost as if the stock market has already priced that in. And there's two sides of the debate on whether or not we're out of the woods yet. Some people think it's not going to be a V-shaped economy or V-shaped recovery, even though it looks like a V-shaped recovery. They say, oh, there's no possible way. There's going to be new waves. Economies are shutting down in the U.S., right? Even the Republican governors are sort of falling one by one in line with shutting down the entire economy or their states' economies. So, you have that side of the argument where people say, well, there's no possible way this is going to be a V-shaped recovery, right? It's going to need more time. It's going to be choppy. We might have another crash. But then there are other people that say that it's already been priced in, right? That the stock market has already priced in future waves, right? And has already priced in the economic damage. Actually, somebody left a comment. I'm going to read his comment. This is on another dude's channel, but this is what he said. This is kind of interesting. He said, his name is Giacomo, I think is how you say that. He says that, he said, let me see, where was it here? He said the market has already taken into account the illness, perhaps, and all the possible waves, and it is trying to move forward the V shape. And that would be nice, right? It would be nice to think that we don't have to worry about any more crashes. We don't have to worry about any, serious effects from shutdowns. A lot of people are excited about the stimulus package and perhaps the stimulus checks that are coming. We're going to talk about that as well. But the economic toll is still, it's kind of up in the air, right? We're not exactly sure how much worse this could possibly get. I feel like we're in a weird area because July is historically a pretty good month for the stock market and just a pretty good month for global economies in general. So we're in this weird kind of like twilight zone where it looks like the stock market is ignoring the reality of the world. And China was leading today's rally. And I don't know if that's going to become a regular thing or not. If the U.S. kind of turns into a monkey see, monkey do, right? Monkey see China, monkey do like China. But we know not just economically, but politically, things are becoming more like China. And it's not to say that that's the end of the world. But I think this is a reality that we need to accept. There's only so much we can do as voters, as consumers, as commentators. There's only so much we can do, to stop the Chinaization of America. So the more valuable use of our time, my time, is to figure out, well, hey, if we are going to become more like China, and these economic policies are coming in, these political policies are coming in, how do we thrive in that kind of environment? So, Dow surges 459 points. NASDAQ clinches fresh record close. By the way, Trump tweeted about the NASDAQ. NASDAQ hits all-time high, the president tweeted. Where was that article? Right here. Despite concerns of the economic toll of unfettered U.S. V cases, Amazon's up to Amazon's up to over $3,000. That is absolutely extraordinary. I mean, that's probably going to be a $4,000 stock in the next couple of years, right? And its valuation is $1.5 trillion. That is absolutely enormous. I mean, whether we like it or not, Amazon is going to change the way we live, and that's another thing too, with this economy changing, these more digital products that they're going to sell to everybody, and the global economy being accessible to everybody. The companies that are going to change our lives for better or for worse are the companies that, are going to be where the opportunities are. Like, you can make the argument that a company like Coca-Cola, I'm sure there's people out there that might have Coca-Cola stock or they've thought about investing in Coca-Cola, but is Coca-Cola going to change the world in the next 20 years? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, can they even survive? There's Whole Foods, which is owned by Amazon, has their own soda. They don't carry Coca-Cola. So, sort of identifying these companies that are going to change the way we live, whether we like it or not, and whether we like some of the new lifestyle changes, these companies, they're going to change our lives. They're going to change our entire society. And so there could be a lot of opportunity there. Now, personally, I don't have enough money to buy really even one share of Amazon. I could start buying fractional shares on my Robinhood account. You can actually purchase fractional shares of different stocks. But for me, I feel like even though Amazon may never go, it may never go down to 1,200 or even 600 or even 2,000. It's just too expensive. I'm probably not. I'm looking for, different opportunities other than Amazon, but this is a very powerful company nonetheless. Let's look into the article here. So U.S. stocks finished sharply higher Monday, with the NASDAQ soaring a record close as Wall Street followed surging Chinese equity benchmarks to their best levels in at least 2 years. Monday's upbeat market action contrasted with a further spike in U.S. cases and a resurgence of business restrictions by state and local authorities struggling to contain the outbreak. Right? So, again, just look at this. The Dow Jones is up 459 points, 1.8%. The S&P is up 1.58% or 49 points. So the NASDAQ, right, is surged 226 points, up 2%, over 2%. So despite everything that's going on, the stock market is rallying, right? So is there going to be, is this the V-shaped recovery? Is this what it looks like? That's a question a lot of us are wondering about. What drove the market, right? According to MarketWatch, U.S. stocks ended up sharply on Monday, led by shares of financial companies and record-setting technology shares as Wall Street followed Chinese equity markets higher. See, a lot of investors are really putting their faith in technology. Even myself, right? I'll admit it. I'm in some technology companies. One of my favorites right now is actually a REIT called Iron Mountain. And they basically do digital storage, right? It's like a digital real estate, or digital storage real estate. And I think they have a new deal with Google. So, Iron Mountain, ticker symbol IRM. Definitely something that I'm working on building a bigger position in. And I think it's at a discount right now, personally. Goldman Sachs Group, GS, leading the blue chip Dow higher, along with Boeing. Yeah, let's talk about Boeing for a second. So Boeing gained, let's see here, almost 4% today, right? So Boeing, I watched Boeing go from $179 to $187 today. Well, I guess that was in the pre-market. It opened at $184. But yeah, you could see Boeing maybe going back up closer to 200. Who knows? I thought about Boeing a couple of times, but let's talk about airlines, right? In this changing economy, what's the future of the airline industry? A lot of people think it's dead. And maybe it is. Maybe airline industry is going to contract, right? That's a possibility. If nobody wants to go get on a plane and fly across the world, right? Or if less people do, that's a problem. The social distancing for airlines, huge problem. The economic shutdowns, statewide or nationwide shutdowns for the airlines, a huge, huge problem. Boeing, I think, is partly a defense company, kind of. Like they make they're a defense contractor for the U.S. government, so they have a better chance of surviving than Delta or American Airlines. But some of the people that I watch on YouTube, they're telling their viewers, if you have American Airlines or if you have Delta, just get rid of it because, it's not going to be too much longer. They already want another bailout. The airlines are already asking the president for yet another bailout. And it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. Really anything to do with airports right now, I think is very risky because who knows when they're going to let us travel again? Who knows when they're going to let us freely, travel from country to country, state by state. Though I was watching Bjorn from the the CX network. Some of you probably know who I'm talking about. Bjorn, the 50-year-old guy that he drinks a lot. And anyways, he flew to Vienna. I think he's in. I think he lives in. Forgot Denmark. He's from Denmark, and he flew to Austria, Vienna, Austria. And he said that there was barely anybody at the airport. Nobody checked his temperature. Nobody swabbed him. Nothing like that. He said there was literally nobody at the airport. He got off the plane. I saw him saying this on his live stream. Don't ask me why. I just popped in there when I was bored the other day. He said he literally got off the plane and nobody talked to him. He said there was hardly anybody, no security, no TSA, nothing like that. But yeah, Boeing seems to be in some kind of rally. It's up to 187. Again, I thought about Boeing. I've been thinking about Boeing, and it got as recently it got as low as about 179 in the last few days, last week. And I was seriously thinking about it. Buying maybe 2 shares, 3 shares. And I didn't because I was really worried that it was going to go down even more, maybe go down to 150. For me, I feel like if Boeing hits 120, 110, then I'm going to be extremely interested. I'm going to probably have to buy it. If it goes as low as 110, I'll probably have to buy a couple of shares of Boeing and add that to my portfolio. They don't have a dividend, so that was another reason I wasn't too interested in Boeing. But for like a swing trade, if you had bought 4 shares of Boeing this morning, like during the pre-market when it was 179, or maybe Thursday, and now it's one for a swing trade. I mean, you could have made $40 or $50, especially like on an app like WeBull or Thinkorswim where there's no commissions. You could have made a nice swing trade out of that. So it's something to keep an eye on, right? Keep an eye on the fluctuations. Monday's gains also came with growing doubts about the U.S.'s ability to contain the outbreak and its economic fallout after the cases climbed across the U.S. over the 4th of July. By the way, we've got some 4th of July news. Well, I'm going to show you some fireworks in Los Angeles. Absolutely beautiful. We'll end on sort of a more positive note, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, they're really pushing this idea that we need to be closed, that it's dangerous to be out. Let's see. Oh, this is BlackRock. So Mike Pyle, the global chief investment strategist for BlackRock. Okay, BlackRock, they're buying up all the assets. BlackRock has a deal with the Fed, and they're the ones that are buying up all the assets. So you pay attention to what they say because they're the ones that are running the world, right? Quote, "This is potentially setting the U.S. on a very different activity restart path than most Western countries and much of Asia." So I think a lot of us did think we were going to, get out of this a little bit sooner. And it's going to drag on for a while, guys. This whole, all of it, because it takes time to restructure the economy. And so obviously they need more time. They couldn't get it done in 3 months or 6 months. By the time we get out of this, the entire world is going to completely change, right? The world has already changed so much from January, right? January feels like it was so far away now because we were literally living in a completely different time, a completely different era, a completely different economy. The BlackRock team loaded its coordinated U.S. fiscal and monetary response in March, but they also warned that the, quote, resurgence of the illness is taking place just as Congress and the White House face a critical decision over whether to extend a number of crisis measures, including additional federal unemployment benefits set to expire at the end of July. Let's talk about that as well. So a lot of people are still hurting, right? We're in a shutdown. Unemployment benefits are about to expire for most people. And, a lot of people are wondering, are we getting a second stimulus check? there's a few different channels like Clear Value Tax, Meet Kevin, that pretty much do like daily stimulus check videos. I've seen some of them. They seem optimistic about it. Trump even said that he wants more stimulus money than even the Democrats were calling for. I think the Senate is on vacation right now. But Nancy Pelosi and company claim they're working on another bill. Now, this is going to be another it's probably already written. Like, let's be honest. It was probably written last year, this second stimulus package. But some people think that, because we're in an election year and Trump apparently is trying to buy votes. That's what it looks like to me. The stimulus checks could be bigger than the last time around, right? Everybody got $1,200. We're looking at maybe getting $1,600, maybe getting $2,000 a piece, right? By the end of August, early September. Obviously, no promises or anything, but the optimistic voices, that I watch, this is what they're saying. But then you've got guys like Clear Value Tax, that, I think rightfully so, think that we should take more of a, show me the money kind of attitude, right? We'll believe it when we see it. But they are talking about it, and I think Americans, want it because they're struggling so bad. Obviously, the UBI and the government dole, it's going to become a bigger part of everybody's life. Let's just not even kid ourselves. Like, this is, this is part of the global economy restructuring is, there's going to be more welfare, but that's going to be corporate welfare. That's going to be welfare for the people. This is just the way of the world, guys. I mean, it is what it is, right? We maybe we don't like it. Maybe we don't agree with it. Maybe we'd like to see pure capitalism, but we're not going to live in a pure capitalist global economy, right? It's going to have elements of socialism. It'll have elements of some other things too. But it's still going to be, there's still going to be capital markets. And, I think instead of focusing on the negative, there are a lot of positives. There's a lot of opportunities out there. There's investments into stocks. There's, REITs, there's ETFs. There's, you could have somebody manage it for you. There's cryptocurrency. There's just, there's so much opportunity out there to get depressed and to, focus on, oh my God, the world is upside down all the time. And, I've been guilty of that, obviously. So, but, I think figuring out what's going on in the world with the global economy, it just puts you in a better headspace, right? Puts you in a better headspace. And I like focusing on it more than focusing on the, the social and political aspect to everything, because, there's nothing we can do about it, whether we like it or not. About the shutdowns, though, some other guy, Chris Rupke, he's a chief financial economist for MUFG. He says, quote, thousands of retail shops and bars and restaurants are closing or soon will be, and probably permanently. After the plandemic stopped the flow of traffic and crashed sales and revenues and tipped many businesses into financial bankruptcy. Ain't that a fact? Yet purchasing managers say the outlook for the service sector looking up. And there are restaurants that are completely, when we talk about the restructuring of the economy, a lot of these restaurants, they have a brand new model now. They're selling digital products, which is, that could be anything from like, they have most of the restaurants have an app now. So the app, they can, advertise, they can promote, they've got coupons on the app, memberships, right? A lot of restaurants, I think, are going to have memberships where, they'll charge you, I don't know, $25 a year or something. And, it'll be like a points reward system. And they're going to be selling to you at your house. They're going to bring it to your home. Because a lot of people are not going to want to go out, especially right now. And I think going out to dinner is going to be reserved for a it's going to be much more special, right? I don't think Americans are going to return to eating out the way that we did before. I'm sure it'll still exist, but there's obviously going to be some less restaurants. You're not going to have as much choice. And it's going to be the biggest restaurants that are going to survive. And it's going to be the restaurants that are the most innovative right now, the ones that are, selling their food on an app or online. And, the restaurants that, they don't have any takeout service. Well, they're done, right? I mean, they're done. But some of the restaurants, like the bigger companies you might want to look into that I've seen people talk about are like Cheesecake Factory. Dave & Buster's was one that I had a few shares, but I made a swing trade out of it because I think it was, I bought it when it was like 18 and it went up to close to like 21. I had like 5 or 6 shares and I just sold it and took my little profit on the Robinhood app. But now it's down to like, the last time I checked, it was like $15 or something. And Dave & Buster's, especially from the second shutdown, I don't know. Their food is sort of subpar. I don't think their food is freaking fantastic. But a place like the Cheesecake Factory, right? That's actually a nice restaurant, right? It's nice, got a lot of food, and they have a lot of space. Like if you've ever been in a Cheesecake Factory, it's like a palace. It's huge. So they can do the social distancing, better than a lot of other restaurants. So Cheesecake Factory is a restaurant that might survive this, especially if they have a good delivery service. Now, speaking of delivery service, okay, another one of the big things that's changing here is Uber, right? Where was it here? I had the headline. Uber actually bought, check this out. So Uber, this happened like just today. Uber bought Postmates, right? They acquired Postmates. It was $265 billion. Postmates was like the competition to Uber Eats. I actually, believe it or not, I drove for Postmates when I was in LA for about, I don't know, maybe a month. I did Postmates. I would deliver food and stuff. It was fun. I got to drive around LA and, see all the different neighborhoods and stuff. But so Postmates is now Uber. Now, Uber is probably going to end up moving more into food. That's where I see Uber's future. With all of this, speculation, like in China, I think they already have driverless cars. And so that's coming to the US eventually. Tesla and Elon Musk, they're working on the driverless cars. I think it's possible, especially with, 5G coming online. Again, I'm not saying we have to like it, right? And I'm not saying, there's good reason to be suspicious of all of this stuff. But it's getting rolled out, whether you like it or not. There's nothing we can do about it. With all of this stuff coming in, I think the future is going to be driverless cars, right? The rideshare services, it's not going to be Uber. It's not going to be, it's not going to be gig workers. Unfortunately, those jobs are going to be, that's one of the sectors that's probably going to disappear 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or less. It could be less. We'll see how fast Elon Musk can come up with these driverless cars, but like this is serious. They're gonna put these on the road, and they're gonna use the 5G technology, the Internet of Things. They got the GPS systems already, and you're gonna, instead of getting on with Uber, maybe it'll be one of Tesla's companies or sub companies, and a driverless car is gonna come and pick you up and take you wherever you got to go. I think that's the future. So Uber, it's probably, this is a good sign, right? I wasn't so confident in Uber a couple of weeks ago because their stock has been kind of lagging. I think they're hovering around like, I don't know, maybe $30 a share or something. And so, a $30 stock, right? If it's a good stock, even somebody like me, I could afford 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, right? If I wanted to. But I just wasn't confident in Uber because I don't know if I see a future for Uber in the way of like taking people to like ride sharing service. But now that they bought Postmates, which is specifically food delivery, that's interesting. And the fact that they bought it, right? That they bought it for $265 billion. My point is these are the kind of companies, especially as an investor, as an aspiring investor, I would be paying attention to. Companies that are acquiring other companies, that are swallowing up other companies. The companies that are kind of like they're not doing anything, or they're just lagging behind in this new economy. Those companies are in grave danger. And to see Uber do something like that, it's actually a good sign that they might be with us for a while. Who knows though? Maybe a company like Tesla gets into food service too. We have no idea, or food delivery. We have no idea what the future is. But this is a very, very strong sign that Uber is trying to figure this out. They know the driverless cars are coming, and they know that they need to they need to start acquiring other businesses like Facebook, Google, Amazon. All of these companies, they're buying huge companies, like just swallowing them up whole. And I think it was Google that bought Skype's technology and Skype's company. And, so these are the companies that are going to change our life. They're going to change the way we live, and they're going to change society. They're going to change the global economy. Let me just make sure. We're going to move on to stimulus and stuff. But Goldman Sachs, Apple, Microsoft lead Dow Jones rally. China leader breaks out powerfully. Let's just check this one out too. The stock market stayed in a celebratory mood near midday Monday after the long holiday weekend. Sentiment was positive in the stock market today on merger news and a strong performance from Chinese indexes overnight. And again, for me, this is kind of scary, right? If China is leading our rallies, it just goes to show you how much influence they have. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was led by Goldman Sachs, okay? Big gainers included Tesla, which hit another all-time high. I mean, this is crazy. I should have gotten Tesla freaking months ago when it was out like $150. I mean, imagine if you had bought Tesla when it was $150, right? It's almost $2,000 now. Which hit an all-time high on news. It's taking orders for its new Cybertruck in China. That's what I'm telling you guys. The driverless cars, they already got them in China. They're already rolling that out. China's 10 years ahead of us. Maybe unfortunately, but they're 10 years ahead of us. The company could generate $100 billion in annual revenue by 2025. So, yeah, big things are happening, guys. Big things are happening. Walgreens, of course, was another one. Apple, Microsoft. Apple, I don't have any shares currently, but I had a couple of shares. I think I had 3 shares of Apple. I had about $1,000 in Apple. Apple is now, I mean, I think it's almost $400 now, if I'm not mistaken. But look, 2% gain on Apple. I mean, that's crazy. But if I was going to invest, I'd probably invest in Apple. Yes, Microsoft is going to change your life too, probably. But, you guys know why I don't like Microsoft. And also Apple is just, I'm happen to be a fan of the products. Though they don't really have any new hardware products really to speak of. I think Apple is doing things behind the scenes, and I think they have a streaming service now. So, Apple is still definitely a company I think is going to be around for a very, very long time, and one I'll probably be talking about on this show. Walmart also. Walmart was the only Dow Jones stock in the red. Oh, that's interesting. Walmart's in the red. Yeah, something to consider too is that, some of these stocks are way overvalued, so it's about time probably for some of them to have some red days. The other big, huge stock market news was Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. They bought the natural gas storage and transmission assets of Dominion Energy, and they bought that for $4 billion. an older stock, an older industry. But Berkshire Hathaway, have you ever seen their prices? Like $150,000 for one share. I mean, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. They're talking about the Uber deal. Then we have CV News. You guys know what it is. Well, let's talk about, let's switch gears a little bit here. The president, of course, he's got to brag. NASDAQ hits an all-time high. Let's talk about the stimuluses, right? Because people want to know what's going on with the stimulus, right? Are we going to get another stimulus? So, it could be more than 1,200, like I said. But it looks like we're getting another wave of this pandemic, right? I mean, I think we can agree on that. The second wave is here. I think it's interesting that they're in the red states. And I also think this is heavily tied in with the election because the Democrats are counting on more of a digital election season. That's all I'll say about that. But a follow-up rescue package to the CARES Act is far from final. To reach an agreement on the second economic bill, the White House and Congress need to find some common ground on different and sometimes competing goals to help the faltering U.S. economy, says CNET. So the leaders in Washington are talking about these possible stimulus figures for individuals. A $12,000 maximum single payment for individuals proposed by the HEROES Act and passed by the House of Representatives. Yeah, this is already passed in the House. The Senate Republicans are the ones that are really holding this up from getting on the president's desk. But the House has said, they've already passed it, which I guess is a good sign, but the Senate is on vacation right now. So they're not going to probably vote on this till maybe August. More money for individuals than the HEROES Act proposes. A $12,000 monthly payment through the end of the pandemic and for 3 months after. That was proposed by Senator Kamala Harris. Can you imagine that? Imagine getting $12,000 a month for like the next 6 months. Just imagine that. Imagine what that would do for you, and imagine what it would do to America's economy. Oh God. I mean, I feel like this is this is like they're just like pumping opium into the, financial opium into the monetary opium into the system. Like, this couldn't be good. Right? I mean, $12,000 a month for everybody for like up to 12. I mean, it sounds like they're purposefully trying to bankrupt the nation. And, well, I mean, we already are bankrupt. But they're also trying to, maybe crash the dollar. Who knows what they're trying to do? And look out for that too. I mean, look out for this thing. They might try to put in a digital income in this next round, right? Or maybe your $12,000 a month will come on a debit card, and you can't take out the cash, but you can use the card, and the government will track your every purchase, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we get that at some point in time. And then you've got, companies like PayPal, which I won't be talking about this today, but PayPal is going to have cryptocurrency. I guess you'll be able to buy cryptocurrency, and you'll maybe be able to buy things with cryptocurrency. PayPal could change the whole game. This is another reason I got to switch up my content, because to be honest with you guys, I don't want to get locked out of PayPal. I really enjoy the convenience of PayPal, and it's just that, I get paid a lot of ways via PayPal, and PayPal's been known to just get rid of people. So I don't think they would ever get rid of me, because I'm not really a political activist, but PayPal and cryptocurrency, it could change the game. It really could. A lot of people have this idea that, the masses are going to leave the fiat systems for cryptocurrencies. I think there's a lot of optimism out there, but there's a whole other side of the argument. Like, I'm going to talk about Peter Schiff in a minute, that basically says because crypto isn't, it doesn't represent anything and it's not really backed by anything, especially like Bitcoin, right? Peter Schiff says Bitcoin is going to crash. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe Bitcoin goes to $1 million and all of us, will be kicking ourselves in the butt wishing that we had, scrounged up $10,000 to buy a Bitcoin with, because then we would have had $1 million. But I'll tell you one thing. If we get $2,000 a month from the government, like, I'm just going to be adding to all of my asset classes. I've got a Coinbase wallet, and you can buy cryptocurrency on Robinhood. That's another really good cool feature about Robinhood. If you're interested in getting into stocks or cryptocurrencies, they have 4 or 5, maybe 6 different Bitcoin, Ether, Ethereum. They have Dogecoin. I actually made money on Dogecoin, and I just sold it today. They have a few cryptocurrencies, but there's Coinbase, and now PayPal is going to be in the game. So, this could be a game changer once PayPal drops their crypto features. You also have the $4,000 temporary travel tax credit proposed by the U.S. Travel Association. What is a travel tax credit? I'm not sure what that is, but Trump embraced the idea in May. Senator McSally took the idea further and proposed a bill that would give couples $8,000 tax credits to cover travel expense. That's interesting. I don't know. We're going to pay people to travel? I'm not sure. I don't know what they mean by that. A payroll tax cut. Yeah, this is what I'm most interested in, just for, America in general. This is what I think is important. A payroll tax cut. They flirted with it last time, and it didn't get done, right? Of course it didn't get done. I'm not going to hold my breath, but we do need payroll tax cuts. That's what we need the most. But if they cut the payroll tax, how do you think they're paying for all of this? Because they're taxing the absolute living out of Americans. And this was proposed by Mike Pence. So, how believable is Mike Pence? But President Trump says, quote, "I actually support larger numbers than the Democrats," end quote. And he's referring to the $1,200 per person amount that was proposed by Democrats, I suppose. So a lot of people are talking about this stimulus. And with the unemployment rate, right, this probably doesn't help us, the fact that the unemployment is already down to 11%. But with these economic shutdowns, that unemployment is going to go right back up. And the other thing, too, is, they say, oh, we added a record 4.8 million jobs. This is very typical of Trump to not admit and acknowledge his losses and then brag about his meager wins. So typical of President Trump. But how many jobs, they say they gained 4.8 million jobs in June. How many have they lost? How many did they lose the last 3 months we've been shut down? How many are we going to lose now? There's even like gyms are a lot of gyms are going out of business. 24-hour fitness is close to going out of business. Planet Fitness is taking over the game. I'm actually interested in Planet Fitness's stock. They're taking over the game, and they might be the only ones left when it's all said and done. Especially in some of these big cities where there is no gym, like a lot of these gyms they're going to go out of business. But the president did suggest recently a very generous second round of relief, that it may be on the way. Again, don't get your hopes up for this month or even August, but probably September. You never know. And who knows? Maybe they're going to put us all on the government dole, but like I said, $2,000 a month. I'm going to be putting in stocks, cryptocurrency. What else would a lot of REITs. I'm going to stock up on the REITs. I was actually watching Jason Bazzino, about property and stuff. And, you know, of course, like commercial real estate, very sketchy, but things like digital storage real estate, military real estate, medical, like hospital real estate, you know, this stuff is going to be very, very profitable, at least for the next decade, right? There probably will be another real estate crash eventually, but I'm stocking up on REITs. Right now I have NPW, Medical Properties Trust, I think is what it's called. They're like the biggest hospital real estate. And, you know, the mindset behind that is that the government is not going to let the hospitals fail. So they're going to bail them out. The big hospitals, they're going to bail the big hospitals out, and the big hospitals are going to be able to pay their rent. Then you have a company like Iron Mountain, which, you know, has a deal with Google, and they're a financial storage, digital storage, real estate company. So, you know, it's a no-brainer. For me, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to take my chance on it, and it's at a real good discount right now. All right, let's talk about one more thing too. The Treasury says that small business loans supported over 50 million jobs. Again, I'll show you this headline. I think the government is fluffing these numbers up, right? They're trying to make themselves look good. They're trying to make themselves look like, you know, like they did something. But there's really no way to prove this. And a lot of these small business loans, they went to companies that really didn't need them. And that's one of the things in the next stimulus package. One of the things they're going to try to work on is sort of limiting who can get these small business. I mean, because you had really big businesses applying and qualifying for small business loans. And by the time it was said and done, a lot of the small, this is really like small business in name only. Because the big businesses, they're the ones that know how to apply for the loan and, get the money. And the other thing is that a lot of the bigger businesses, they already had credit with the bank, and they were already in debt with the banks, but they had a connection there, right? They was just, because the connection was already there, the whole process was faster. Some of these small businesses didn't have debt or as much debt. They also didn't have credit. And so it was just a longer process, more paperwork, and you see how that could prevent some businesses from getting the loans. So I want to talk about Peter Schiff because I've been following this guy. You guys know who I'm talking about, I think. He did a pretty interesting kind of man on the street video when Occupy Wall Street was a thing about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. That's kind of where I think a lot of people know him from. And he has a podcast, but he's a gold salesman, okay? Personally, I'm not interested in gold, and I'll show you why in a minute. But Peter Schiff is still trying to sell gold, right? He's trying to sell his viewers gold. And not only that, he constantly is comparing gold to Bitcoin. And just to sort of put this in perspective, gold is $1,800 right now. Bitcoin is $9,000. And the other thing to consider is gold has been around $1,700, $1,800 for like 10 years. Bitcoin was, what, $10 10 years ago? So, who's right and who's wrong here? But let me read you some tweets from Peter Schiff, okay? So he put this out the other day. He likes to do these polls here, right? He says, gold seems to be chipping away at resistance just below $1,800, while Bitcoin is simultaneously chipping away at support just above $9,000. And support just means, the price the price of support, right? Like if it dips below $9,000, it's dipping below the support line. The support is just like where the popular kind of like price has been for a while. Like the price that it's staying over. That's the support line. And the resistance is the same thing, like the price at which it's having trouble overcoming. And that goes for stocks, gold, Bitcoin. Because 3 months ago, I didn't know what that meant. So I'm just explaining it to you guys. He says, I expected both resistance and support to give way with gold surging as Bitcoin collapses. What do you think will happen? It's hard to, maybe he's trolling with this. A lot of people said gold and Bitcoin will go up, but basically Peter's argument is that Bitcoin is already at $10,000, and there are a lot of people who bought in very high. They bought in at 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. And so Peter's constantly saying that Bitcoin is going to crash any day now. It's going to crash. And, I guess he thinks magically gold is going to go up, or he has to say this because his business is literally selling gold. So it's hard to tell. Like, does he even really believe this stuff? Or is it just because he sells gold that, he's got to promote it? Now, the thing that gold has is that it's thousands of years, it's the market, the gold market is thousands of years old. There are a lot of sketchy gold companies out there. In China, there's actually fake gold where they're selling people. Not only are they selling people fake gold, like the gold isn't even real in China, but also they're selling gold certificates that are not even backed by real gold. They're backed by this fake gold. So the China gold market is, very sketchy right now. But there are a lot of companies, even in the U.S., from what I know, that they'll sell you gold certificates and they're not necessarily backed by gold. So it's kind of a weird thing. But with Bitcoin, there's reason to be a little nervous, especially if you bought in at $10,000, right? I don't own any Bitcoin, but there are people out there that do, and they got in very high. And so, if it crashes and goes to, let's say it goes to $200, where Ethereum is at right now, or 250, you're going to be holding a huge bag. Like, imagine if you bought 2, 3, 4, 5 Bitcoins for like $9,000 a piece, and they all go down to 200, right? Bitcoin price goes down to 200. It's unbelievable losses, And on the flip side, though, Bitcoin could go higher. It could go to 20,000. It could go to 1 million in 10 years. We have no idea exactly what's going on here, but people like Peter Schiff are very critical of Bitcoin. Here's another series of tweets. So he did this poll right here. Okay. He did this poll on June 30th. He did this. He said, how long do you think it'll take before the price of an ounce of gold is higher than the price of 1 Bitcoin? So kind of funny. And virtually everybody, like 68%, said never going to happen. And, people were calling him out. And there's a lot of funny comments. Like this, I really enjoy this drama with Peter Schiff and the Bitcoin community, right? The cryptocurrency community. It's really funny stuff because, people call him out on this. They call him out like, where was that? Yeah. They post these memes, right? 2012, Bitcoin, $1, gold, $1,700. And then 2020, Bitcoin, $9,000, and gold, $1,700. So they sort of troll him like this. And, the point is that gold has been stuck for like 10 years at around 1,700. So there's even a graph in one of these responses too. Let me see. I think we're here. Somebody posted a nice graph to really. I posted it on my Instagram. I won't go there now, but let's see if I can just find it in these comments here. Yeah. Well, no, is that it? No. I posted the gold graph. Here it is. This one right here. Like, look, this shows you everything you need to know, right? So, is gold really going nowhere? There's some fake gold right there. Are these critics right? Is gold a bad investment? Is Peter Schiff basically, wasting his time trying to sell this gold? And is Bitcoin going to go up? That's what the debate is, and it's interesting because Bitcoin, crypto is such a new class of assets, whereas gold has so much history behind it. I also follow Peter Schiff because he's sensible politically. I think he gets it. He gets it. All right, so let's end on a positive note. I wanted to show you guys this. This is actually 4th of July, and then I'll show you my Zomedica stock. We'll talk about this, but I just want to show you guys this real quick. This is absolutely beautiful. Apparently, this is in Los Angeles. I don't know if this. Oh wait, let me put the music on for you guys. I don't know if this says anything about, you know, how many patriots live in LA, or maybe they're just crazy about fireworks, but I thought this was very moving. Absolutely beautiful. You know, 4th of July, everybody's locked in. You can't go out. You have to social distance. You can't, you know, go out to the fireworks shows. And all of these people set off fireworks in this area of Los Angeles. It really is quite a sight, you know. And the country is just going through so much right now, and it at times it seems so dark. It seems like our entire civilization just, you know, being thrown down the frickin' gutter. But ironically, you know, riots and rebellion and destruction and you know, protesting authority and just all of this stuff. I mean, that's how our country was born. You know, from the Boston Tea Party to the Revolutionary War. You know, it's just, it's the spirit of America is unique either way. You know, whether we're on the right, whether we're on the left, whether we're extremists or moderates. You know, this, the American experience is absolutely unique, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. You know, I think we're, for the Americans out there, we shouldn't get caught up in the negativity so much, and we should realize how good we really have it. You know, but this was absolutely beautiful, and I think I saw this on the Owen Schroyer show, so I had to look that up and show it to you guys. Okay. There's another one too, but I don't know. It's probably enough fireworks here. Check this one out. Let's just check it out. Isn't that amazing? That is so cool. I don't know exactly what neighborhood in LA this is. And who knows? You know, maybe it's far left radical, you know, Marxists that are just having a good time with the fireworks, but nevertheless, you know, the 4th of July, I think we sort of take that holiday and what it means for granted, you know. I really do. We and this 4th of July was different, and it's going to be different probably forever, you know. The country is divided in ways that it never has been before. But, you know, there were some, regardless what is said about these figures from the past, there were some really, really great men that gave us a constitution, you know, gave us the constitution that recognizes our God-given rights. And we gotta try to preserve as much of that as we possibly can. And I think through, well, for me personally, I'll say for me, using personal finance and investing, I think I will be able to preserve a lot of my rights, even if a lot of the rest of society sort of goes down the way of, you know, Marxism and socialism. I think, you know, utilizing the free capitalistic markets that we have to the best of our ability, right? That's how we survive this NWO takeover. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about is Zomedica. All right. Zomedica. So this is an interesting little stock here. They're actually an animal health diagnostics and therapeutics company. So they make products for vets, and they have a diagnostic test kit called I think it's called the True. What's it called? The True Nova, the True Forma. I've researched all the fundamentals of this company. I've looked at their balance sheets, their income statements. I know the CEOs, the CFOs. Looked at a lot of the employees. They have a lot of vets that actually work for them, and they also, with the therapeutic side, they design drugs. They're drugs that are already out there, but they're drugs that a vet would normally have to call the pharmacist and say, "Hey, can you give me this drug and dilute it and have it in this dose?" There aren't any really like brand name drugs for cats and dogs. And that's one of the things they're working on, is the exact dosages for cats and dogs. And then they would sell them to the vets, and then the vets could have them in stock. And so they're trying to make the, animal health, they're trying to make it a better industry. Okay. And who doesn't like animals, right? So, it's a company that has some vision. Animal health is definitely going to expand. It's, people are still going to have pets, and pets are being, they're part of the family, and, people with money, they're going to go to great lengths if their dog has cancer and they can cure the cancer and have their dog live another year or two. Rich people are going to do that, and vets also, there's a high suicide rate with vets because they, have that compassion fatigue, and they have to put down a lot of animals. So Zomedica is trying to, revolutionize the vet industry. So this is an interesting little stock. I found it in probably late May, early June. It was around the time I found Express Spa. Now, I didn't do so well on Express Spa. I lost money on Express Spa, honestly. But Zomedica, let me actually open up my WeBull here, because I am very happy with my play on this. So the first thing I want you to notice is that it is trending down, right? Like if you look at this chart, it's trending down. Well, it's consolidating, right? And it's not, it looks like it's not really going, high places anytime soon. Okay. Which is okay, right? I could play this as a long-term investment if things go well. Like I said, I've looked, I know the ins and outs of this company. I've done a lot of fundamental research. I think the fundamentals and the technical analysis with the charts, for me personally, that's kind of like part of my style, is I got to have both. Some people just look at the charts and they don't like to dive into the companies that they're investing in. But if I'm going to make an investment, or if I'm thinking about like investing long-term, I want to know the company inside and out. Gerald Selensky is the CEO, and he seems like a decent guy. Like I've watched a lot of his interviews and stuff. But if you notice, it does this thing where it gaps. Okay, there, you see how there's a gap between the share price here? You'll also see it right there, and then you'll see it right here just recently. What it does is it gaps down, and then it closes the gap. Right. And usually stocks, when they gap up or gap down, they usually have to close the gap. Not all the time, but usually they have to. Right. Like the stock dropped so low, it had to correct. It had to correct. It did it a second time. So the first time was in April. The second time was in May, just right before June. But it closed the gap and the price went back up. And then it gapped again about a month later. So this is a pattern that I noticed. And so I've been looking for this opportunity. I set my alerts on my WeBull app. And then it dropped to like 14 on Thursday. Well, this is what I did. I bought, hold on a second. Let me gotta unlock this. Let me show you guys what I did here. I'm so proud of this play because, this is what I was trying to do with Express Spa, but I got a serious case of FOMO and I bought like way too high. I literally watched Express Spa go from like 80 cents to $3 one day. All right. I had 800 shares of Express Spa for like 82 cents. And I got impatient and I didn't think it was going anywhere, whatever. And I sold it. This was one of the dumbest decisions I've made yet. I sold it for like 86 cents. It was a very small profit. 3 days later, on June 1st, it climbs all the way to like $3. You know, I would have been a thousandaire by now if I had kept it. Then I was like, oh my God, it's $3. Like for days I had watched this happen. Like I watched it hit 120, then I watched it hit 2. And on Friday it went from like, it was like 90 cents and it went up to $3. I just got a really bad case of FOMO, fear of missing out. And I bought really high. I think I bought in at like 250. And then the stock just starts plummeting. And it went down as low as like 125 or whatever. But then they did a reverse split. Make a long story short, I was holding a bag, a really big bag. So I'm really proud of what I did with Zomedica because I think I got in. My average price is $16.74, 0.1674. So I'm right in between 16 cents and 17 cents. I got in. I believe I got in at the right time. Since I bought in, it hasn't dipped lower than my position. Now, let me show you this. All right. So I have 5,000 shares, as you can see. This is Zomedica. This is the chart right here. This is the minute-by-minute chart. I'll show you the daily chart. See how you can see these gaps again, right? The gap right there. You can see the gap right here. Let me actually... hopefully this doesn't fudge up my stream too bad. Okay, so you can see these gaps a little bit better. Anyways, I got in. See how there's a gray space right here? It gapped down. The lowest it got to that day was 1550. And then I first bought 2,000 shares at 1608. And then today I bought another 3,000 shares, more at like 17, I think it was 1701 I got them for, which raised my position to 1674. But as you can see, my P&L on these 5,000 shares, right? I've got $870 market value, right? And I paid, I don't know, maybe like $800 for it. Well, no, I'm up $30. So I paid like $800 and you do the math, $840. My P&L is up 3%. And I also have shares on TD Ameritrade and Robinhood for around this same, I bought them on all of my, I got in quick, right? But I was very patient and I'm very proud of this play because I do believe most likely, I could be wrong. And it goes down and, I lose money. But I do believe probably this week, it's going to start going back up this way. And just like it did 2 times before, it's going to close that gap, right? It did it here, gap, close the gap. I don't know where it is. Right here. It gapped here, had to no, here's the gap. It's done it 4 times. It's done it a lot. Like this is the pattern of that stock for the last few months. And it went as like recently it went as high as 35 cents. So if this goes back up to 22 cents, 24 cents, 25 cents, it goes up to 35 cents, I'm looking at probably making, I don't know, a couple $100 off of this, depending on where it goes. That's kind of my target is about 25 cents. I'll have to do the math. But it's a nice little swing trade, right? It's a nice little swing trade. It's a step in the right direction for me as a trader. Kind of trading these, it's a penny stock. It is a biotech stock, but it's not like a COVID play, right? Like this is a legitimate business. It's not just a vaccine play. And so who knows? I might keep these 5,000 shares, right? I'm been studying the company a little bit every day. And if I think this company, they're new, right? If I think they're going to be around or maybe they get acquired by a bigger, life science company, who knows? Maybe I'll keep the 5,000 shares. I don't know. I kind of entered it as a swing trade. I would probably swing trade and then maybe get back in, right? Kind of like get back in at the dips. And I've seen people do that with Express Spa where, they'll sell it at, They sold it at like $1, then it would drop down to 80. They got back in, then they sold it at $1.20 again. And so maybe I'll try that approach too. But, you know, I had a plan. I was watching the stock. I had alerts, and I was patient. So, you know, I'm very excited about this play. And like I said, I have like another, I don't know, 1,000 shares on TD Ameritrade and about 500 shares, I think, on, let me see. Let me check. Let me check my Robinhood account real quick. Yeah, about another 500 shares on Robinhood. So, you know, I've got a big stake in this. You know, for me, it's a little penny stock, but it's a big stake for me, and I'm very excited about it. I wanted to share it with you. At some point when I build up my Robinhood portfolio, because the WeBull, I have more money, but it's like unsettled funds, and you have to wait. Like after you make a trade, you have to wait like 3 whole freaking days before your funds settle, and you can like do a day trade. You can't like day trade with the settle fund. It's so annoying. But you know, I'm trading with TD Ameritrade and WeBull, and then Robinhood is my dividend portfolio. And you know, my plan is basically with that account just to keep buying ExxonMobil, Iron Mountain, you know, Medical Properties Trust, I think is what it's called, MPW. I want to get Apple in there, Qualcomm, some of these tech stocks, and you know, just kind of build up that dividend portfolio and rake in the cash. So at some point in time, I'll probably share that with you guys too. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for hanging out in my stream. Back to my chat here real quick. Put a stop loss order on it in case. I could do that, Zeus, but here's the thing about the stop losses, right? I actually just found this out. The professional traders can tell where your stop loss is, and a lot of people actually get stomped out because let's say everybody has a stop loss on Apple for like 350. Well, the professional traders and their computers, their algorithms pick up on this. And you can literally see, like in the daily charts, when it dips in the morning, the algorithms in the computers will just manipulate the stock somehow and start selling off shares, and then they'll sell past everybody's stop loss and get the price down. Everybody gets stomped out, and then the price dips. Professional traders, they come in. So I'm very worried about the stop loss. I think what I'm going to do, what I've been doing, is setting alerts on my stocks. And so, because I'm looking at these every day, right? This is what I'm doing all day long. I get up at about 6, 7 o'clock, take a shower, whatever. And then 8:30, 7:30, 8:30, I'm in front of the computer getting ready for the market. And I just watch the market, and I'm trying to learn this stuff. I'm setting alerts. And so I'll have an alert if it drops below a certain price, and then I can assess what's going on, right? If catalyst from the news, is it, you know, just situation, is it C15? I'm very nervous about the stop loss because I've heard some horror stories about people just getting stomped out. If they hadn't have had the stop loss, it would have gone right back up the same day, right? This is what the professional traders are doing. And, you know, as a retail trader, I just figured that out, you know, about a month ago. I've never gotten stopped out because of my stop loss, but I stopped using stop losses after I learned that. So I don't know. Maybe that's a bad idea not to have a stop loss, but, you know, are they doing that in crypto too? Yeah. And I don't have a lot of crypto right now, but I made money on Dogecoin. I made $10 on Dogecoin, and I sold it because I had like $50 tied up in Dogecoin. But let's see, my Coinbase, I have, what do I have? What is this coin called? Hold on. Cosmos. It's Atom. Or maybe Atom is like, no, I have 2 Atoms. I guess the blockchain is Cosmos and the coin is called Atom, right? But like here's the weekly chart. So the weekly chart looks good. The monthly chart looks pretty good too. But it was a cheaper coin that I could afford, a few of them. I had 2 of them. And eventually I want to get a hardware wallet and really get into crypto. So, and if the margin calls don't pan out, you would be shocked the food you can find in the dumpster behind. I don't have any margin calls. Hell no. I don't think options just doesn't, my brain doesn't work like that, and I don't know. I can't really figure out in my mind the options thing yet, and it's just I'm just not interested. I'd rather just trade the stocks. For me, it just seems logical to buy low and sell high. I don't see what's so hard about that. And there's all these guys out here that they want to trade options and they want to short the stocks, and I just don't see the market that way. Just naturally. I know my natural tendency is just to buy low, sell high. It's logical. It's easy. I'm not trying to overcome, but no, I don't have any margin calls. And if the margin calls don't pan out, oh, you'll be shocked the food you can find in the dumpster. That is pretty funny, Ross. That was a good one. Angela, thank you for modding. I appreciate it. Thank you, Delphi. I'm glad you like the haircut. I like it too because I don't really have to worry about it. You could start doing margin calls. Then you can trade anytime if you get a hot tip. Yeah, I don't know enough about the calls and the puts and the options. I've been looking at some of the videos and stuff, but I don't know. It's just my mind doesn't think like that. It has to be simple. I have to be, what's up, Mary Klein? It's got to be simple. It's got to be logical. I don't know. My brain just doesn't work like it. Which is better, Robinhood or WeBull? If you're brand new, I would start with Robinhood. That's what I did. Okay. If you don't know anything about stocks and you don't know how to read the charts, and Robinhood is super simple, super easy. It doesn't look like this WeBull. This, I was so confused when I first opened this. This is also on the phone. I was so confused. I had no idea what any of this meant 4 months ago. Now I get it. I'm starting to learn. TD Ameritrade is even crazier than this. But if you're brand new, this is intimidating as fuck. This looks you have no idea what time of day it is. You don't know what's going on. All right. So this is the WeBull app on the computer. I would start with Robinhood. Robinhood is a lot simpler. It's just use Robinhood even if you're not going to buy stocks. Start following them. Start following the markets, following the stocks, following the news. And you don't want to pay attention to all of the news because there's a lot. It's the mainstream media. They lie about everything. But start with Robinhood. For those of you that are interested, use my link down below if you end up downloading it, because if you use the link, you'll get free stock. So, and I get a free stock. So it's a pretty cool little deal. Same thing with WeBull. If you download WeBull using my link, you'll get 2 free stocks, and I'll get a free stock as well. But I started with Robinhood. I downloaded Robinhood and WeBull, but I started with Robinhood, and that's kind of where I'm just doing my dividend investing. I can research a company, and I can wait for the perfect time to buy a couple of shares. It's not real hard to use. It's not hard to read. But then I got into WeBull, and WeBull, it's not the most, the executions are not fast at all. If you were buying 100,000 shares, there's a chance you'd probably get skipped using WeBull. Even on TD Ameritrade, there's brokers that are so much better. But for me, what I'm doing, buying 1,000 shares or buying, 5 shares, and then just doing kind of day trades or swing trades. WeBull is working for me. TD Ameritrade as well. The Thinkorswim. That's what I'm using. But if you're brand new, start with Robinhood. That's what I would say. I'll check out Blink. Let me type in the tickers. Let me see. I'll check it out. Let's look at the chart. Oh man, that chart scares me though. I'm not gonna. No, not now. Hell no. I learned my lesson. First of all, it's oversold on the RSI. All right. And second of all, this is going to come down. There's no way that can. I've seen this happen so many times. This is going to come down. Even if it goes a little bit higher, I'm not. I would wait until this comes down, and I got to research the company. What does Blink do? I have no idea what they do. Because I'm gonna go watch a movie in a minute. They're a car charging group. Oh, interesting. Like, oh, electric vehicles. Yes, I'm very interested in that. Thank you for. Let me put that on my watch list. Hold on. Cars. I'm very interested in anything that has to do with electric vehicles. I'll definitely check it out. I probably won't invest in it right now because it's way overbought. I'll probably wait till this falls, but then I'll definitely think about it. Yeah, that I appreciate that, Mary Klein. That looks very interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, look how overbought that is on the RSI down here. That is that is very scary. This is gonna crash. It's got to. It has to come down. Right? Stocks. Actually, you guys want to see PayPal stock? I'll show you a stock that looks really scary. Look at this. That stock, I would not buy that. I don't care how strong it is. I don't care how good people say it is. This is PayPal. I would not buy this stock. Like, this has to fall eventually. Right? Stocks, they don't just go up, and up. And the less peaks and valleys that there are, the less support. Like, where's the support? The support is at $87. And it's just gone up to 176. I got a bad feeling about this, right? I've got a really bad feeling about this. Like, look at that, dude. That is really scary. I saw a YouTuber said they just bought PayPal. I'm like, you just bought PayPal? Like, when it crashes, it could crash to like 82 or 87, whatever it is. Yeah, 82 is the low here. For me personally, I'm looking for stocks that, like just for me personally, when I'm looking at these charts, let me see. Let me go to. I'll show you what a perfect chart. What I think is a perfect chart. Let me go to my regional banks. This one, Truist Financial. That's a pretty beautiful chart, right? It's got higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, right? That's a pretty nice chart. It's not perfect, but that looks pretty healthy, right? This PayPal shit. Did you see PayPal? Look at the difference in this, right? How it's going up and down, up and down. Offers a little volatility for the swing trades, right? And then look at PayPal. I feel like I'm nervous for the people that bought at 182 or whatever this is, 188. I mean, this shit, it's got to crash at some time. Stocks don't go up. And I learned my lesson, so I'm very careful now. I have to find the best entries, like I did with Zomedica. If I can nail that every time, I'm going to be a fucking millionaire. All right. I'm going to get out of here, guys. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Shout out to everybody I haven't seen in a while, like Mary Klein. Ross says you could also do index funds, which are useful to new investors. Index funds and ETFs. Yeah, I like the REITs. ETFs, I guess, are different than REITs, but yeah, I'll probably the ETFs. I'm definitely interested. Delphi, thank you for watching. Angela, thank you for modding. Little Nitty, thank you for modding. Good to see you. I think I'm gonna watch a scary movie with my bro. So I will check out BLNK. I put it on my watch list for the cars. So thank you for that. It's good to learn something. Hope you guys learned something or enjoyed the conversation and the new format so that I don't get demonetized or banned. And I'll see you guys on the next one. This is CMC Broadcasting. God bless.